Blah.
Oh, Hellraiser! I did Hellraiser. Yeah, that's right.
What did you do on Hellraiser? I loved, dude. I'm not like Hellraiser's not like a sacred cow to me. So I went into the new Hellraiser, absolutely loved it. Really, really had a good time. Thought the movie worked really well. Just like enjoyed the shit out of it. Really, truly. What the hell did you do on that one?
I worked on Chatterer. I worked on Pinhead. God, I remember when I was working on it, I thought the movie was gonna suck. I thought it was gonna be terrible. I was pleasantly surprised when I saw it because they didn't have we were building all these like prosthetics and creature suits for actors that weren't even cast yet. And normally you need like a live cast so you could sculpt on top of the live casts. So it's like custom fit. We have like none of this custom stuff. We had nothing. It was like, what's going on? But yet we still had to have the ball rolling, And
Sure.
This was also last year. I wasn't really, for me, it wasn't fun because I wasn't ready to come back to work yet. At the time, I was like COVID was happening. I was watching the kids. My wife was going to work. I was enjoying my break from all the chemicals, but they needed people. Like the industry at that time, for whatever reason, was so busy, they couldn't find people to work at the shop. You got to remember, all these effects people are jaded. They don't care what the project is. They're like, oh, Hellraiser, great, whatever. There's been like 7 or 8 other ones that have been terrible.
Right.
Who gives a fuck,
Right.
So, but I heard it's gonna be a reboot. I went, oh, that's interesting. Okay. So, I tried to make it work, and I worked on it for about maybe 3 weeks, I would say.
Wow.
But at the time, it was a dark time for me because it was like really hot. It was like 115 degrees in the shop, no air conditioning. There was no booth to work out of to like do all of your casting and molding and stuff like that. So it was just really uncomfortable. And then my cousin killed himself. So so I got word of that. So I took like a 2-week
dude.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But so I come back from work. I come back to work after I kind of deal with all that shit, deal with his funeral and all that. And then like one of my worst enemies in the industry, I don't have any except for like one. He's working in the shop. Yeah, they had to replace me.
Moriarty.
So I was just like, I'm tapping out. I'm done. Like my headspace, I was in a bad spot. So
sure.
So they put up with me with all the bullshit I was going through. So I give him a lot of credit for that. But yeah, it just for me, it wasn't enjoyable at all. But the end result was fucking amazing. I mean, the work was
oh my god
stellar. The designs were incredible. They looked really cool.
Loved it.
In the movie, though, I kind of felt like the characters like a bunch of dumb Grand Theft Auto AI. Man, I didn't give a shit about any of them. I just wanted to see cool ways that they're going to die.
They were paper thin, but that was not super inconsequential to me.
It was. Yeah.
I actually, to be quite honest, I was kind of reminded of the Evil Dead remake, like the drug addict Jane type character. It was very reminiscent of that, but that's not what made the movie so awesome. It was just the way that they presented the story. The story was so much more coherent to me than it was in the original Hellraiser. I can't explain why. I just, I never really knew what was going on in the first Hellraiser movie. I don't know why that was. I just didn't,
It's the editing. The editing's a little janky, right?
Right. So I'm not I'm not crazy about that. Like it is a little like incoherent. Like, and basically Kevin agrees with us about the comparison.
Yeah, with all my friends, like when they say what's it like, I say, oh, it's like the Evil Dead remake. It's not a complete insult. It's not an insult at all, but it's not my favorite either. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like blown away by it at the same time. I thought they could have done more with the gore. I thought they they went cheap on. Yeah, they could have done more, but it was enjoyable overall. It was enjoyable. I give it like a 7.5.
But what's interesting, what was interesting was I was actually able to follow the story as opposed to the original. Kevin says right here, OG Hellraiser was really flimsy in terms of plot and mythos at the end when they disappear and the special effects and a lot. Yeah, it just like I'm actually like following the story of like the dude, the Frank type character who is, I mean, I was like, oh, wait a minute. There's like different levels of different types of rewards. Like that is not, they don't ever communicate any of that shit in the original Hellraiser at all.
No.
For some reason, Hellraiser, and I have nothing bad to say about the original Hellraiser apart
from.
Well,
I've read Hellbound Heart. I read it in high school. And
oh, you did?
Yeah, I don't think that was in the book. It was a novella. It was pretty short. But I don't remember different levels of there's Hellraiser 3 CD Cenobite, the camera Cenobite.
Yeah, dude, Anthony Hickox, man, the CD.
Yeah.
Shout out
pretty
to
bonkers.
Anthony Hickox.
Yeah, but no, it was good overall. Like I didn't like the first third of the movie, but like once they got to the house, the mansion, that's when things started to really pick up, and it was pretty cool. And they did some really cool stuff visually, like when she was in that ambulance. Remember that?
Yeah.
And the whole thing
God. All that stuff. See, all that stuff where they like kind of really show. They really do show the how they're sort of these interdimensional beings, which is not really. It's not. It doesn't work the same way in the first one. You really feel like they come from another dimension in this new movie, and it's quite terrifying. And this idea that like that they are just transformed, or that they're just seeking sensation and pleasure beyond human comprehension, which is just demons to some, angels to others, whatever.
What else did I work? I think I worked on that. Do you remember that weird little motor engine block in his chest? I don't know what the fuck that was.
Nerve. It was a nerve. All of his nerves were strung up to the motor block, and every time, like every couple of minutes, it would tighten the nerves. It was pulling on all of the nerve endings in his body. That was a cool device. That was crazy.
See, you paid attention to it more than I did.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, but that's what's so funny is that it just was easier than say that original Hellraiser movie. It's just so I don't know. I just thought it was interesting.
I'll definitely rewatch it, but